Hi everyone, welcome to our today's vlog on health and wellness. So today I'm going to talk about self-esteem. So self-esteem is just your opinion about yourself. Sometimes you'll see people with high self-esteem. Sometimes you'll see people with low self-esteem. Right? So how do you identify people with say high self-esteem? Now you'll see that they're overconfident, right? They commit to certain things too much, but they don't have abilities to back them up, right? So that's also sometimes dangerous, right? Your manager might be trusting you to do this and you are like just committing to it, but at the end of the day manager realize that you don't have the abilities to back them up, and that's really tough for the project, right? So another way of saying the similar example is low self-esteem. Now your manager asks you, let's say, can you do this task, do this job, or do this project, and let's say manager has some doubt that okay, you might not be able to, and you are like, okay, if you think that I'm not able to, I'm definitely not able to do it. So it's just that means what? You don't trust your abilities. You give that ownership of knowing you better to your manager, right? That's also not so good, right? So it's good to trust others, but you should trust yourself more, right? You should know your abilities. So these are the certain traits you can see in people who have low self-esteem and high self-esteem. But actually you should have a balanced self-esteem. Now when I say you should have a balanced self-esteem, what does it mean? What are the characteristics people have who have balanced self-esteem? They know their abilities are way better than anybody, so they know what they can do, right? And they also have a sort of healthy relationships. Now why they would have healthy relationship with others? It's because they have a very healthy relationship with themselves. So know themselves really well, so they can actually have a good relationship with others. They can understand others also well. So these are certain characteristics, right? Nowadays you have social media thing, right? So you think, okay, now this person have a really good life, and then you somehow go into the trap that okay, why I'm not having such a great life? He's probably going to the Maldives and putting a lot of pictures, or he's probably owning a Porsche or something. So this kind of thing. So, and then you start comparing yourself, and then you probably develop a little bit low self-esteem. Now that's something you have to understand, that that person is probably putting the best of his pictures in the social media, right? And that person also have a tough life just like you, right? But he might not be showing that. So you should not compare yourself with others, right? Or you should not think that others are better than you or leading a better life than you. So everyone has their own part of challenges. So yeah, it's possible that certain period of time you develop low self-esteem because of certain reasons, maybe let's say illness or something that can happen to you. But you should have an awareness that because of certain illness or something, you become a lot of relationship issues at times. You probably in a toxic relationship where your partner constantly pokes you and tells you that you can't do this, you can't do that. So you should identify those things which actually lowers or limits your self-esteem. Okay, this kind of situations is really not good. So you should not, in short, you should identify if you are developing such kind of such things, because low self-esteem or high self-esteem both are not good. You should have a balanced self-esteem. So as I said, how can you identify them? Identify if you have balanced self-esteem. You are sure about yourself. You have a healthy relationship with your friends and family, and you know your needs. You know your needs. Okay, you give importance to your needs. Okay, as much as you give importance to others' needs, right? And you can actually express it to others, your emotions, right? So all those things, if you have a balanced self-esteem. In this today's vlog, in the next 2 parts, I'll explain with my wife first, right? How can you develop good self-esteem, or also I'll talk about if she has ever come across issues like low self-esteem or high self-esteem, and what actually has happened because of that. And subsequently, the next part, I'll also talk about how can you, if you have low self-esteem or high self-esteem, excessive self-esteem, how can you actually balance that out, right? At least first, how you identify that, and if you can identify that, how can you actually balance it out? Yeah, so stay tuned. Yeah. Hi Debrati, how are you?
Hi.
So today we are going to talk about a little bit about self-esteem.
Okay.
So do you understand what is self-esteem?
I know about the self-esteem.
Okay. So so today I want to explain people what is more about low self-esteem, high self-esteem, or let's say any self-esteem kind of issues. So do you identify yourself having any self-esteem issues, high or low, something like that?
Actually, earlier I was dealing with this only low self-esteem.
Okay.
10 years before. Like
10 years before?
5 to 10 years before. Now I will try to balance my esteem between the low self-esteem and the high self-esteem.
Okay. So, how did you identify you have low self-esteem at that point of time? If you can recall.
Actually, I want to tell everything about this thing.
Okay.
Actually, when I was a BTech time, that 2007, in the year 2007 to 11. So, normally I used to feel like that I have all the knowledge. Suppose if you are in first year, so I have to know about all the subject knowledge, right? When you want to give exam. So I have all the knowledge, suppose electronics knowledge, physics knowledge, is like that. But suppose if someone try to demotivate to me, so I want to tell something. I have this knowledge, but there was one weakness. That is because I was Bengali medium, so I have some I don't have any English fluency.
Right.
So
I get it.
someone told me like that, you have other knowledge, but what about your English fluency? So by that point they will dominate me all the time.
Okay, they know your weakness and they try to take advantage of that.
So due to that, I know very well at that time that this is my weakness. So due to this weakness, I could not tell anything to anyone. Okay.
Right.
So everyone used to demotivate you.
So rather than helping you out of it, they kind of push you even down, right?
And I cannot. At that time, I could not tell anything as this is my weakness.
Right.
If I would like to tell anything, that time they will tell. They will just poke me each and every time.
So you over a period of time would have developed low self-esteem,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Slowly, very slowly,
yes.
and then you thought, okay, maybe you can't.
So that's why if I want to improve my self-esteem, so I have to identify what are my weakness.
Correct.
So I thought that this is my weakness. Due to this, I could not tell anything to anyone.
Right.
So I try to achieve this thing. I try to improve my self-esteem.
So awareness. You realize that okay, this is your weakness, and then you start.
This is the one thing is English fluency. Another thing is that so one of my weakness that I thought that if I tell anything, if I argue with someone, so they will think that I don't know what they will realize, what they will think about me. That is the another reason. So
right. So you don't argue with people.
So before knowing myself, I should think about the others. That time I will think about the others.
Others more than you give importance to yourself, and you think that okay, if I argue, what they will think about me. So you don't keep your needs in front of others. You rather think what they will think. Others' opinion.
I just thought about the others' opinion.
Right.
What they will think. This thing.
So yeah, I mean that's great. I mean in the subsequent part of this blog.
This is first I have to improve my English fluency. That time I realized, and another thing is that first I have to identify what are my strengths. So
right.
I have to.
So focusing on your strengths is more important. Yeah.
So if I want to tell anything to anyone, first I have to realize my strengthness. By considering my strengthness, I will poke others also.
But I can tell you definitely you would have come by the way you are speaking right now. I think you have come a long way, and at least you can express yourself really well.
Yes.
What I realize that.
So I also know that sometimes high esteem is not. It can also hamper your relationship. And
right.
So I try to balance all that.
Absolutely. That's. I think we are all. No one is perfect. At times you can have high self or low self-esteem. You can balance it out. The next part of the blog, actually, I'm going to talk about how can you balance it out.
If someone try to demotivate you, that I have to show my high self-esteem.
Great.
Though I know that some weakness are there, but I have to show that this is not my place.
Okay, that's one of the ways maybe. That's one of the strategies maybe. But thanks a lot for your valuable input. And next part I'll discuss further on self-esteem. Okay. Thanks a lot for your time. Hi everyone. So you would have heard my wife sharing her experiences about her period of low self-esteem 10 years back, and then she realized that that is something is not good for her, and she found a way to overcome that actually. So that's really great. So self-awareness is really in this case is the key, where you understand that you are going through low self-esteem, right? So maybe these are some of the questions you can ask yourself to identify if you have low self-esteem, right? So as I already said, right, do you trust your decisions more, and do you trust yourself for making every kind of decision? So at times if you think that others' opinions are more important to you, you probably realize that you have low self-esteem. Now once you identify you have low self-esteem, the next thing is to deal with that, how you can actually deal with low self-esteem. So she made a strategy, was saying, at times if you have low self-esteem, you probably go on the higher end of the self-esteem for that particular situation, or maybe for a small phase of time, right? I mean, maybe you have 10 friends, right? He always keeps on telling you for low, you are not good at this, you can't do this. Well, that might be a good strategy for a period of time, where you actually go and tell them, I'm best, I'm awesome. Okay, even if I'm not good at this, I'm supremely awesome at certain other things, right? You show them your strengths, they point out your weakness, you show them your strengths, right? You tell them how you're good at those things really, which helps you in everyday life, right? So don't let people always, feel you down that you don't know that. Yeah, I mean, you can say that, you might have certain weaknesses, but then you have a lot of strengths as well. So focus on your strengths is really important, and let people understand that what are your strengths, right? So this is probably one of the important strategy, what at least she said, right? How she dealt with that low self-esteem, right? So it can come to everybody, right? So what are the factors which can be responsible? Maybe your upbringing, the way you were born and brought up. Maybe your parents constantly nag you, or your brother constantly nag you and say that you're not good. Or maybe you have a brother at home who are, let's say, very good at certain subjects, and your parents say, okay, look how he's so good and you're not good, and then keep on comparing every time, and then after a certain point of time you develop low self-esteem, right? So also if you are suffering, right, at many times, maybe if you don't have a hand or something, people keeps you making fun of you, and then you develop low self-esteem. So now you know that there are certain things which can bother you, so you have to deal with those things head on, right? You have to tell maybe your family that, okay, look, I might not be that good at English, right, but I'm damn good in maths, and I can do really a lot with my maths as a career. Take that as forward, right? Or maybe you're very good at sports, not so good at studies. So explain them how people have done really good with the sports, right? So you have to identify where situations, or it might be your own problem, right? You think that you're not good at something. So first of all, identify, and then fight back to solve those issues where you think that might have low self-esteem. Or at times, if you're also suffering from high self-esteem, right? You're overconfident that, okay, I can do anything, I'm damn good in everything you do. Challenge yourself, right? You might not be in the right environment, right? Maybe the friends you are talking with or working with, they might not be that good, and you think you are the best. Life is beyond 5 people whom you hang out with. Maybe you have to change your 5 friends whom you hang out with. Maybe you got to challenge yourself a lot more. So then okay, there are lots and lots of things which you don't know, because I think it actually takes a certain time to understand that you don't know many things other than what you know actually. So there are ways to deal with it, excessive self-esteem or low self-esteem. But the first step is to identify you have esteem issues, right? Once you identify that, life is not so difficult. You know that you have to deal with certain things. Maybe you have some few good friends who can actually tell you that you are maybe having this kind of issues, or maybe your parents know and tell you this. But if not, better you identify it. Now that I told you what are the symptoms of low and high self-esteem, it's important that each one of us work on it, and certain period of time it's okay, but then it should not be for a very long period of time. So once you realize, just work on it and lead a happy life. Yeah, thank you. See you in my next vlog. Yeah.